Okay.
ये सॉफ्टवेयर कैसे मिलता है?
You can download from the Google. Search for the hours of download. There.
नहीं, वो कल मैंने वो ट्राई किया था, वो तो ट्रायल वर्जन है।
Okay. I will share.
ठीक।
Okay. So first, what are the roles?
हाँ।
So while we plan to take an idea about the roles budgeting, like how many manpower we required for a specific project. So you can take an idea with the help of roles. This is not the final one. This is give you a brief idea. Like suppose you required a structure engineer, you required site engineer, you required mechanical engineer, you required project planner. Like this, these are called as role.
अच्छा, रोड है।
When you finalize this project planner you required and that person is Mr. Matthew, this is called as a resource because now you finalize that who is going to work as this role, then this is called as a resource.
ओके।
Now in roles you can take an idea only of the manpower because manpower has the role, material doesn't have any role, any machinery don't have any roles.
हाँ हाँ
So you can create these roles
हाँ।
in Primavera,
ओके।
where you will find again the same. To create the roles you can go to the enterprise and there you will find the roles. Now click on roles. Here a window came of roles. Now as I explained you in the first lecture that whenever you open this window, go to the display, filter all roles, then you will take if any content is created in software.
ओके।
Now what we do, we select all the roles because these all are the sample data available. If you don't require this sample data you can able to delete it also. You can either delete because we will create according to our requirement. Now we require a structure engineer, you can click on add and you can add a role. Project planner, any bar binder, welder, fitter, site engineer, like this you can create. Now specify the role ID, let's say structure engineer, site engineer, project planner, bar binder, fitter and welder. Structure engineer, site engineer, project planner, bar binder, fitter, welder. Like this you can create n number of roles. Now in the below window, if you want to specify the responsibilities of this one, so you can go below in general tab. In general tab you will find here a space, but you cannot type it anything in here. You have to go to the modify and you can write it here. To design and analyze the structure safety. Like this you can define the responsibility, give it OK, then it will shown here. Now after this we have a tab of resource, but we will skip right now. Then came to the units and prices. you required a single structure designer. So there is a option maximum units per time. Here you can define the number of resources, number of roles, like structure, how many structured engineers you required. If you required single, this is a default one, single one. Now select site engineer. Suppose you require two site engineers, so you can come back here and you can type it as a 2. Project planner 1, bar binders we required suppose 5, fitter we required 3, welder we required 2. Like this you can specify the units. Now again here are some points as a standard rate. Again the same thing, in initial planning we want to take an idea, so you can mention the rates as standard rate here. So select the resource, come back to here standard rate. It is saying 0.00 per hour. Suppose we are having a structure engineer and we want to define its rate as per day. So you can come back over here. Let's say it is having 750 per day. That letter should be in small.
Okay.
750 per day. You can mention like this. Let's say site engineer, you type it as a 600 per day. Select project planner, let's say this is 1200 per day. You selected bar binder, this is as 450 per day. Fitter, let's say 550 per day. Welder, let's say 400 per day. Like this you can mention the rates. After the creation, just close the window. Now in which activity you required that specific role, you can add that to then that activity. When you add role to the activity, just go to the resource tab. Under under activity detail window, you will find a tab as resource. Whether you want to add a role or resource, you can use the tab name as resources. In here you will find add resource or add role option. Later on we will discuss what is this one assigned by role also, but now we want to add role. Click on this add role, and in A activity suppose we required site engineer and project planner. We have selected our roles and we can assign it. When you assigned,
Okay.
those will assigned, but neither you find any type of budget value or amount here, neither here. So we have to add a column.
We have to add a
column.
column.
So right click, go to the columns. I will remove these constraints ones from here, suppose. Filter this as a list, and there is a total budgeted cost. I will add a value as budgeted total cost, add one, apply, okay. So this will show you 4500. Now we required to calculate individual budget, like site engineer how much budget, for project planner how much budget. So we have to customize these below columns also. Now right click again here, customize costs, budgeted cost, and there is a budgeted units, add just right one in here. We have added a site engineer. Site engineer cost we mentioned 750 per day, and this activity is of 2 days. So 750 into 2 becomes 1500. Like this it will calculate the values.
Okay.
Okay, so 1500 and 3000 total becomes 4500. That will become this activity budget. So like this we can add to all the activities which roles you required. Like this it will create the budget for each activities. Then the total of each activity budget will becomes the WBS or project budget. This is how you can create or you can able to calculate the budget of a project depends on roles. But the thing is, suppose in here we mentioned some roles to each activity, like there is a welder we added. Suppose for this activity this is going to be a 3 days activity and we have added a role. That means a single role is added here. But suppose you required more than one role for any specific activity. Suppose these 3 days you required two number of roles, so you have to go for, there is no any budgeted units per day or per time available. So I will right click, customize, I will convert this one to list and I will add here a column again, that is budgeted units per time. Add, okay. Now it is showing you one budgeted units. We require two, so we can change this one budgeted units to two. So one role for 3 days, and if it becomes two roles for 3 days, 2 into 3 means 6 days. Now 500 into 6 becomes 3000. This is how you can create the budget. Okay, now it will becomes
So budgeted units
2
per
into
total.
3 total number of that type of role, like we require 2 welders or 3 role or 5 bar binder. So you have to mention under budgeted units per time how many roles you required for this specific activity.
Okay.
Like we have added a welder, no? So if you
So
go
one
to
more
the
that
roles,
one budgeted.
there is a welder, we created 2 welders. So we can add maximum 2 welders because we have availability of 2 only.
So tomorrow we want to increase. We can increase.
Yes, we can.
We can change to
Yes.
2 to 3.
Exactly, you can change.
Okay. Another is that it is budgeted units per day.
Yes.
But what about budgeted units per quantity? Is it possible?
Budgeted units per,
Quantity. Like we have 100 metric ton total. 10 metric ton each day for 10 days. So can we do like that also? Like a total
but
budget
that
quantity.
is, but that is a material.
Acha, that is material.
Currently
This is
we are having a role, and role is for only manpower, not for material.
Okay, okay, okay.
That is why we don't discuss that thing here.
Okay, okay.
Okay, this is how you can create the roles, you can assign the roles, and you can take a brief idea of your budget according to roles. But after roles, we check for the resources. Even in roles I showed you a column of resources also. In resources we have three types. First one is called labor resource. That means manpower. Second one is called non-labor resource. That means machinery. Third one is called material resource. Material means material. So these three types of resource are there, and you can find out your exact budget with the help of resources only.
Uh,
Because as you see, while creating your roles, there is no any role of calendar. But in resources depends on calendar also. So now we will learn about how we can create the resources. Then after creation of the resources, we will learn how we can link our resource to our roles. Okay. Now come back to Primavera, go to enterprise tab, you will find resources. Click on this resources window, resources will open. Again go to the display, change this one to all resources. Now here we have the number of resources. As I told you, if you want to delete, you can delete. If you don't want, you can left them as it is. Now first we will go and check what is the calendar we have assigned to our project. This is REF. Go to the resource, add a resource, left and top. This will become independent, like this will not come to any other. Now I will take this resource and specify its name as project name, and I will assign all the resource under this for this specific project, so that we can categorize it that under this resource we have all the resources for this specific project. Now first add, create a resource, name it as a project, and go to the detail window. There you will find a details. In details you will find a calendar option. Go to this and change this calendar as project calendar you have. After this we can add resources under this one for the specific project. This is the best practice. So you can categorize your resources according to the projects. And second benefit is that, like, as you see, when we add this resource, this calendar is differ from project calendar. Now we define a resource over here as a independent resource and give it a name of project and change its calendar. Now again, if I want to create a resource, when you click on add resource, this resource will add under this, and the benefit is that it's automatically take the calendar, the same one. So you don't have to change the calendar for every resource every time. This will save your time. Now we have created in last activity we are discussed, we have created two welders, assigned two welders here. Suppose now we have finalized who are those two welders. Let's say this is welder 1, you can write them their name also, welder 1, and we will add another one. This is as welder 2. We have added. This is how you can add any labor resource. Just add the resource, give the resource ID and resource name. The resource, third column is resource type. These are the labor resources we added. So we will not change these because we have created the labor resource only. Unit of measure will work only for the material resource, because labor doesn't have any unit of measure, non machinery doesn't have any unit of measure. Only the unit of measure is for material resource. Now for welder 1, go to the units and price tab. There is a standard rate. Suppose welder 1 is experienced one, that means there should be a salary difference in between experienced guy and between inexperienced guy. Let's say welder 1 is our experienced guy and we are paying him as 700 per day, and second we hired as an inexperienced, so that it will just decrease our budgeted is project cost, and it can gain the experience with the under that experienced one. So you can select this welder 2 and you can hire this one as 300 per day. These both will have different price maybe. Now what will happen if you came back to the activities? This budgeted cost is according to welder. Give me 1 second. So we have, this is taken price as a roll 3000. Now we have added budgeted units as 2, because 2 welders we required. Now 2 welders are like welder 1 and welder 2 we require to work on this project, but we have added the role. If we add the resource, you can click on add resource, you can add welder 1, welder 2 like this, but this will create a problem, like this will take on cost this one also, this one also, and this one also. So this is a problem, because this will calculate all three, but we don't require this one, we require only this one. So what we can do, we cannot add like this direct resource, we cannot link. What we can do, we have added the role. Now go back to the roles. We have created 2 welders. Now come back to the resources tab. Whose are these 2 welder? Connect with these resources. Welder 1, welder 2. Connect these both. Now we defined these 2 welders as welder 1 and welder 2. Now welder 1 is our experienced one, so you can define its proficiency here. This is master 1. This is inexperienced one. Correct? Now close this window. Here we have, now I will add a column over here named as rate source. Rate source will give you the information that according to role or according to resource, what rate it will consider in calculation. There is option rate source. I will add this one after budgeted cost. Okay, so rate source is there, so it is calculated on the behalf of role. Now I already linked these roles with resource. Now go use assigned by role option. Display. These are all the options we have. These 2 welders you have as a resource. Now welder 1 is there. Now welder 2 is there. Now you have added this one as welder 1, because that is a budgeted unit. Now I will add role again, a welder, and I will link this role. Again select this one, assigned by role, and this is welder 2. Like this. This one is welder 2, this one is welder 1, and this will, what resource? This is calculating the rate as a resource. So welder 1 cost is 2100, welder 2 cost is 900. Total will become 3000, because 700 into 3 becomes 2100. 300 into 3 becomes 900. Now total will become 3000. This is how you can link your roles assign, you can link role with resource, and you can assign the resource with the help of role. These two options we covered up. Now according to this, what you have to do today for practice, so that you can you have a clear idea of this. You can open your workbook. In this workbook, just go to page number 15. Please write it down. In workbook you have a page number 15. In page number 15 you will find this one, roles.
Okay.
Create a project, also a calendar with 5 working days, 9 hours in between, 1 hour break, and also estimate the cost. You have this one, you have this project over here, you have the roles you have to create.
Page number 15.
Page number 15. First you have to create a calendar, then you have to create this project, assign that calendar to this project, all the predecessors value you have, so you can schedule it. Then you have to create these roles, and these, there are the rates given. If there is no any quantity, that means single is there.
Okay.
Now you have to assign like this. Select first activity, this is a milestone, so there is no any requirement of resource or role. Select this activity, prepare the structure, and assign one design engineer, one project engineer. Like this you can assign all the roles to all the activities, and check the total budgeted total cost here. So it will give you the estimated cost according to roles. You have to do this one practice first. Then after this, here you have a activity, define, assign and label resources, not this one, this project. This is on page number 19, second one. Second one.
Okay.
This is having a project of only 10 activities. Then it is having roles, then resource, then you have to link these resource to these roles, what we covered up last one. Analyzer resource is this one, role is analyzer, resource name is money. You have created money here, and you have created analyzer here under role, so you have to connect with this one. The proficiency levels are also given. Then after you will assign to the activities. So you can practice this one. Either you can directly practice this one. So in this you will cover up each and everything, like roles, resource, connect with them, and assign to the activities. This is the most important one you have to cover up today before starting tomorrow class, because tomorrow is very important session for budgeting. We will learn about non-labor and especially material resources, because material resource like will create problem if you will not understand clearly, because in that there is a unit of measure, there is a problem, because we know only the amount, that this much of amount we required for this activity, 2 metric ton, 5 metric ton for any specific activity. So how we can assign and categorize all those things? Suppose we required steel, in which we have 6 diameter steel, 10 diameter steel, 12 diameter steel. So how we can categorize, how we can analyze, how we can limit their number of their quantity for the activity? We have to learn all those things. That will create problem if you will not understand this data. Okay, so I will definitely share these things to you today. Till today's lecture I will upload, and I will share the links on your mail IDs, so you can practice all these things, and we will start next session tomorrow for the budgeting again.
ठीक है.